Hello, Jessica Langenberg with Leadership Resources here, and today we are talking about success. Namely, what is it and how do we get more of it? Now, success at its core is really just the warm, fuzzy feeling we get when we accomplish something that matters to us. When we deliver a result, when we achieve an outcome that's meaningful. Now, it's important to note that success is incredibly personal. What makes me feel successful may be very different than what makes you feel successful. It's all about accomplishing that thing that matters to us. So that's what success is. But how do we get more of it? I want to share an example of a client that I started working with about a year ago and what his success journey has looked like. So for my specific client, in his situation, in his role as a project manager, he works with a number of engineers. Now this client, when we think about the experiences that he's had in the past, he's a super smart guy, but he was never a real great student in school, and he didn't go on to continue his education after high school. So over the years, there have definitely been some challenges, some barriers that he's run into as a result of that. So that's been his experience. Now that experience he's had has created some habits of thought, some patterns of thinking, some limiting beliefs for him. In his case, as he's working with engineers, he's thinking, I'm not smart enough. They're gonna know that I have no idea what they're talking about. Or worse yet, I'm going to have no idea what they're talking about. And because of those habits of thought, because of those patterns of thinking, what does he do? What are his behaviors? I can tell you he wasn't responsive. He communicated only through email. He never wanted to talk to them in person or on the phone. When they would ask questions, his answers were always, I don't know, or passing the buck to somebody else. And what results did he achieve? Well, to be honest, he had some pretty frustrated engineers, and his boss wasn't all that excited about him either. He definitely wasn't experiencing that great feeling of success that we all strive for. So we call this model the success chain. And my guess is we can all relate to this on one level or another. We've all had experiences in our past. We can probably identify some habits of thought that we hold or some limiting beliefs when we think, I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm too busy. A lot of times those habits of thought are excuses that we hold. And as a result, we don't do the things that we need to do in order to get the results that we want to get. We can relate to this. So there's power in the success chain first in knowing, right? Knowing the power that our thoughts have over our behaviors and actions, but also knowing the power that we have to choose a different behavior or action to get a different result. In the case of my client, in spite of his lack of confidence and some of the doubts that he had in his abilities, he chose a different behavior. Once he realized that that wasn't grounded in truth at all, but just in his fears, he chose a different behavior. He got really intentional about being proactive in communicating with his engineers. He was talking to them all the time, super responsive when responding to their requests, and owning problems rather than passing them off to somebody else. As a result, he's got clients that are happier, more satisfied, and a much happier boss as well. And you know what? It feels pretty darn good for him too. Now, the really cool thing about this is even though we're looking at it in a pretty linear fashion, when we choose to challenge our habits of thought, experiment with different behaviors and get a different result, when we experience that success, we start creating brand new experiences for ourselves. We realize that we can do it, we're not too busy, we are good enough or smart enough, and it gets so much easier to commit to continuing to do those things. So for you, today, we've all heard that quote, that the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same things over and over and over and over again, but expecting a different result. So think about yourself. Think about your own limiting beliefs. Think about your own habits of thought and your own behaviors, and commit to challenging one of those habits of thought or doing something different to drive a different result. The only way to get to success. Thanks for watching. Certainly hope you will like and follow our page if you haven't already for more awesome content. And join us for one of our weekly webinars on how to set good goals and get things done. We'll see you soon.